Hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Happy Friday from San Diego. Let me scoot you to a better spot. You're not in the best spot. We had a great question come through this week that I'm going to knock out for you here on Fix It Friday. If you're joining us for the broadcast for the first time, thanks for hanging out on the replay. I'm Cameron Thompson of Hope 2 Canine Foundation. We've been offering free advice for a long time now, but again, if you're new and you didn't know about it, feel free to submit questions if you are somebody who's happened upon our organization and you're struggling with dog behavior, dog business, or nonprofit related challenges. All of the above are fair game when it comes to reaching out and getting feedback from me via this platform. All you need to do is just email them. You can send them to Hans or April at hope2canine.com, both of our folks that can help us out with that. Or every week there's a prompt, just about every week there's a prompt asking for questions to be submitted, and you can drop them there and they'll compile them for me to answer on Friday. So this week, Heidi had asked us for some assistance with the foster dog that's on the older side, a mature dog that they're looking to house train and stop from marking in the house. And then also questions around why he may or may not be itchy or compulsive about chewing at his ankles. So, you know, anytime I'm answering something like this, there's plenty of details that might be missing that I have to presume and suppose when I have the opportunity to have somebody on live simultaneously to answer to those questions. It's really helpful. So I always encourage folks, if you submit a question, try to attend and hang with me at noon Pacific Standard Time on Friday when I'm going to answer for you. But in this case, we're talking about an adult dog that's, secondhand dogs being adopted, shelter or rescue, doesn't matter. You want to assume and play to, the lowest common denominator likelihood in this case. If the dog has never been housebroken before or has, maybe been a yard dog or a stray dog for a long time, apply all the structure you would with a brand new puppy and spell out the day for that dog on leash. That's the best way that you can start to expose him or her to more freedom and more access around your home and prohibit them from practicing the wrong choices or creating bad habits. So what that might look like here is especially a crate, using the crate for household management of a dog like this, having that dog really learn a practice and a habit of returning to the crate in between social times and getting attention and affection from you, or exercise, going for walks, being outside, creating that structure just to build, the dog's ability to offer cues even and say, hey, barking, whining, I need to go out. Take them outside on leash, offer them the spot you want them to go. Once they eliminate, then you can bring them back in, spend a little bit of quality time together, and then return them to the crate. So that little dynamic of having a routine and structure really helps to build then feedback from the dog to the handler about what are their cues for what their needs are, right? If the dog whines or barks and you take them out and they don't eliminate, they don't go to the bathroom right away, then it gives you information about the fact that the dog may just be experimenting, exploring whether or not it works to get them out and get them to have access to you. But when you put them back in the crate because they didn't go to the bathroom, you're letting them have a really good sense of clarity around what's expected from you in the home and starting to pattern that they need to have a habit of going to the bathroom right away or they don't get access to you. What most people do incorrectly and where they tend to go wrong, especially with little puppies, but certainly adult dogs too that don't have good house manners, is they spend way too much time and attention with that puppy and on that puppy, regardless of whether or not the pup has earned it, right? And so they're not reinforcing the right things. They're creating a lot of confusion and entitlement for the puppy or the dog that they can have freedom and access without earning it. And it slows your process down. It makes it a lot harder to establish good habits. So we're looking to create lots of structure. That management tool of a crate works so brilliantly because these are den animals. It gives them clarity that these four walls are all you need to worry about when you're in the crate. And when you cue me that you want to come out, it needs to be for a legitimate purpose. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to eliminate, go to the bathroom, do what you need to do, but I'm going to return you if you didn't take care of business. And then I'm going to reward you with attention and inclusion and freedom if you do your business, okay? So then it's just in and out of that routine and sequence all day long until you start to open up more freedom and longer stretches where that dog is interacting with you and they start cueing to where they need to go. And you can be more confident that they understand the rules of the house and that habit of where do we go and eliminate. Marking in the home can often be a result of that dog having been newly altered. If they were only spayed or neutered very recently as an adult dog, there's going to be a higher prevalence in most adult dogs with a late neuter to, want to mark and lift their leg. Not all, but many. So having some understanding that you need to keep structure and not allow that dog to be free in your home until the hormones have balanced out and they kind of get that out of their system. So my question would be, Heidi, is when was this dog neutered? Was it before they came into, a rescue or a shelter situation, or were they picked up as a stray, for example, and it was only done recently, or maybe it hasn't been done at all yet? If you've had other dogs in your home, that odor will also perpetuate a lot of times the marking behavior of a new dog, right? If you've had an older dog in the past or a dog, puppy that had soiled or marked in your home, that odor it's never fully gone. It's very difficult to completely eliminate it. So it's almost like it's unfair that a dog that has a lot of sexual maturity that maybe wasn't altered, until late stage in life is picking up all of this prior odor and is even more motivated to mark on top of it. You've just got to create restriction so that they don't have access to making that mistake without your knowing about it. And then if you know about it, because the dog tries to do it in your presence or on leash with you, you can correct. So that's the balance that you're looking for over the long term, right? Lots of structure in the beginning, lots of management with that crate tool, and a routine of going out of doors and promoting bathroom habits on your terms and not allowing that dog to be out of the crate until after they've gone to the bathroom, still watching and paying attention to everything they're doing, and even considering restricting that dog on a leash or a long line so that they don't, again, have the ability to go out of sight, mark in a corner where you're not watching, and then you find it later. But as time goes on, you open up more of that freedom and hangout time and that dog's opportunity to make choices. And you can see if they get that idea to crawl up against something and think about lifting their leg. Now you can give a leash correction if that leash or long line is on. Remote collar works really easily for this as well if the dog is trained on e-collar. But when they're not on tools, you're going to find that you lack the ability to give clear information. So it's really important that you utilize some sort of hand-holding mechanisms, if you will, to guide that dog to the right choices. And by proactively, taking them out in a structured manner, showing them where you want them to go, restricting their access and freedom so they don't become too entitled and, habitual with bad habits, you're actually going to be patterning the right behavior that you want. And in time, that takes over. Okay. As far as the chewing, is pointing towards skin issues and allergy issues potentially. That would be more of a veterinary assessment examination, maybe some allergy testing that needs to be done. I, again, can make some assumptions that there's no evidence of fleas, right? If there's no evidence of flea bites or anything like that that could be irritating a dog, some dogs are very allergic to fleas. And so if even one bite had occurred, the dog may be having a bit more of a histamine reaction and be more sensitive. But this is really going to fall more in the medical side towards where I would encourage you to connect with your veterinarian, let them know what's going on, check the skin for potential, bigger issue. Food is thy medicine. So if we have a dog that has allergy issues, we need to make sure we're putting into the gut the right stuff to not perpetuate that or be the source of it. The hard part is it's very expensive testing, allergy testing. I literally just had to do a blood draw for one of my personal dogs recently because she's showing symptoms of allergies. And the blood test is not cheap. It's quite expensive, but it will tell you about food or environmental allergies, and that can direct your path much more effectively as to how you might change the food that you're feeding your dog to avoid proteins that are irritating them, or ingredients that might be in there that are problematic, or if it's seasonal allergies, it's going to give you a lot more insight into what you can and can't control. I suspect that for my dog, it's pretty much environmental allergies, which is going to be a real pain in the buttocks because nothing I can do about that other than maybe cytopoint injections or other histamine support from homeopathics and things like that. So we work with a homeopathic vet here, not a homeopathic, a holistic vet here, as well as my conventional medicine veterinarian, and both are able to provide, complementary sources of support for things that are, skin based. But just remember that the skin is that largest organ reflective of what's going on in the immune system, the gut biome, it's all interconnected. So make sure that you don't have this dog on shitty food. Make sure that you have a dog that's getting fresh food ingredients if they're on a kibble-based diet, things that will help to calm the blood and combat inflammation. A big one is going to be probiotic supplement. If this dog's on kibble and it's a rescued dog, chances are it's gone through multiple different types of food and maybe has never had a quality diet in its life consistently. You could be also seeing detox behavior on the body if the neuter was done fairly recently and the dog was under anesthesia or vaccinated or treated with many of the combination um, vaccines and or heartworm dewormer, flea preventative, tick preventative. All of these things are often done on the dog all at once in a hard hitting carpet bomb to the system, if you will, when dogs enter the shelter or rescue system. So please be aware, folks, when you are looking at a secondhand dog coming through, a nonprofit organization or your local humane society and some of these entities, that they do the very best they can to meet the need and comply with regulations that they're subjected to. They are probably having to put quite a bit into that dog's system that doesn't necessarily account and take into consideration for their immune condition, whether or not they're in a state of health that can handle all of that right now. The vast majority of dogs cannot. It's a big hit to their system. They need support to rehab from that impact. And so as an adopter, it's really important pretty much across the board to be thinking about, even in young puppies, especially if these puppies were spayed and neutered early because that's what the organization or the entity requires. It's really important to be thinking about building an immune system up. What can I put in that will help support that immune system, strengthen the gut biome, increase that dog's ability to absorb nutrition properly, and detox the stuff that's in excess in their body that's creating some of those challenges? This is going to contribute not just to whether we have skin problems, but also behaviorally. Anxiety, reactivity, overall stress on the system is going to come out in a behavioral context. 100%. Might be subtle, it might be hard to tell with some, might be overtly obvious with others. So I just sort of put that out there as a general rule of thumb to keep in mind. Okay, Laszlo, I will be done in a minute. Stop. Somebody wants to go out and start Friday afternoon play. Anyway, hopefully this is helpful. I am not seeing any comments. Sometimes this happens to me and it drives me nuts. So if you've said hello, if you've asked a follow-up question, thank you, but I'm so sorry I'm not seeing anything. If you haven't, fine, don't talk to me. I'll just be here giving you all of this information without your interaction. But I do always worry because generally you guys are pretty collaborative in these conversations, that if I'm missing anything, you don't think that I'm being an ass for not acknowledging you. I really appreciate you guys hanging out and watching. This was a great question, Heidi, I think, because it allowed me to dump into some general data that a lot of people will probably benefit from and feel supported by. So again, Heidi, thank you for submitting your question this week. I really hope this is helpful. For a 5-year-old dog coming in to join your home with an unknown background and, challenging behavioral stuff around potty habits and, maybe having some stress and immune issues going on, they're very lucky to have you. Hey, thanks. I see you, April. Thank you so much. And Tom, happy Friday. This is something that we see all the time with folks months down the line, often when there's been cumulative stress on the system and different things that were tried but not targeted to address the issue head on and for what it really is. So just remember, older dog, cumulative stress, those hits to the system, those experiences over time, they do stack up and there's interest collected on those insults over time. So you're inheriting something you really need to think about unpacking and getting down deep there in more structure more rules, more accountability. Don't let that dog have free reign in your house. You'll never accomplish the goal that you're looking for in an efficient and fair way if you do that. Create those boundaries, create that structure, build a schedule as if it's a puppy all over again, and just assume they need that level of spelling out. Okay? Awesome. I think that's it for me for today. That was a good one and a quick one and an easy one. We're going to go play. We've got dogs that want to swim. And I hope you guys have a fantastic Friday afternoon. I'm finishing actually some vacation time right now, starting back into training dog roster this weekend, and really looking forward to all the kids that are signed up to come through and get some skills this next few weeks. So take it easy. Feel free to hit us up if you've got more questions you'd like to submit for Fix It, and I'll be happy to answer them. See you soon.